Okay, welcome to Swing Trading with Cycles channel. It is December 15th. It's the Thursday it's the day after the FOMC announcement, the last FOMC meeting last FOMC meeting of 2022. Fed was hawkish, market is reacting, market is puking right now. We are selling off into the close. We did have a little bit of a rally that is setting up as a lower high right now. And so what does that mean for oil? So this is your daily chart. I tweeted this out. These last rallies, so you had this little 11% rally, you had this big 23% rally, this little 11%, this little 12%, and we just experienced basically a 10% rally. And we were talking about this is potentially a daily cycle low here on day 54 instead of this being a daily cycle low on day 50 or day 45. I'll get rid of these so it's easier to see this. Right, and so, as I said, in a lot of ways, it doesn't really matter. The point is this going to make a higher high above here and then just start its daily? It's a pattern of higher highs and higher lows, or is this going to become a lower high? Right now, it's potentially setting up as a lower high. Right, look at that, and now imagine that. Right, I'll get rid of the arrows. It's probably easier to just draw the path, right? Like broadly, we have this big downdraft, this little lower high, this big downdraft, that's another lower low, and you're setting up for something like this and then that, right? Now, what's positive right now is this rally has stopped short of making a lower low, right? We have not gone below yesterday's low, so Wednesday's low. And as I tweeted about, if you're not following on Twitter, definitely take a look for a link in the description. You'll get real-time updates below 74.93 to the extent that I'm able to, for sure. You'll see we didn't get to that 74.93 level. In fact, we've bounced off of some low today. Let's zoom in on like the hourly chart. Okay, so you can see this is our swing low on the hourly chart, but it's already failing, right? This is like zooming in here, right? We made a low with this candle here, and then we made a swing low by crossing above the high of that candle with this candle, but now we're starting to sort of roll over. And again, multiple time frame analysis, folks. This becomes a lower high, this is another lower high, this is potentially another lower high. So again, you're doing something like that, and then that, and then that, and then that essentially on and on, right? So what does this mean for the weekly chart? Are we still in weekly cycle decline? And we only have one day left of the week, so we're running out of time to change this weekly candle. So this is potentially week 11 after a week 6 top, which would suggest we are still in weekly cycle decline, right? That was a lower high. This is another little lower high, right? Maybe we do something like that, and then that. And notice we haven't touched the 200-week moving average yet. On rare that a long-term cycle decline doesn't get you down to the 200-week moving average. So it's possible that we've bottomed here, right? This is a green week. We could see, and obviously we have to close the week. We'll see how we close. But you could see, next week a candle like that, something like that. And then we're making higher highs again. But right now, this is certainly fighting against the rest of the market. That said, this is your weekly chart for gold. Look at the weekly chart for the S&P. Right? So gold is not gold. This is oil, or that was oil. This is the S&P. The oil is obviously massively outperforming the S&P. Look at this big red bearish candle and all that upper wick. Oh my God! Like, it's hard to have a candle that's more ugly than this. I mean, this big thing is all big rejection, right? Like price was here and then just said no. Just got like the sellers just like overwhelmed, right? This is a bearish outside candle, to be clear, right? We made a new high above this high, and now we're making a new low below this low. These kinds of candles generally lead to follow through. So as I tweeted about, this is the start. This is almost certainly the start of your weekly cycle decline. And this is for the broader market. And so you think about that. If the broader market is going to be dropping for the next several weeks, wouldn't that put pressure on something like oil? And it probably will. Now let's look at the individual energy names, right? Like, how are they set up here, right? Because we talked about the fact that they were in weekly cycle decline or daily cycle decline. So have they made a daily cycle low? Are we starting a new daily cycle that's now rolling over? So let's look at Valero. So we'll look at the weekly charts. I suspect that may be exactly what just happened, right? So Valero had a top on day 41 and looks like potentially a low on day 53. So that's day 53. And so wouldn't it be crazy if this was the start of a new weekly cycle or daily cycle and this was the top? Now, right now we have a green hammer candle. And so the bull case, right, the bullish scenario would be something like that, right? A few daily candles that look something like that. So we basically make a new high for the daily cycle, and day 2 isn't your daily cycle high. Because right now, this is day 2 as your high, and we're on day 4, right? So you imagine if we get this string of candles, that's one scenario. And then, of course, obviously, we could get follow through down here. But this is interesting that it's kind of bucking the trend. The rest of the market is red for the day. So that's Valero. What about XLE? So they're all showing a similar pattern. They're all trying to kind of go hammer candle, and they're all setting up that possibility that, in this case, the top would have been day 3. What about XOP? Same thing, day 2, potential top. Exxon. So Exxon's case, we made a low actually back on December 7th. And so in that case, this is actually day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, day 6 of the daily cycle. And the top would have been day 4. So this would have actually rallied a little bit longer. And that also gives you more of a sense that this may be a new daily cycle. That's important because let's say that this is a new daily cycle and we've already topped out on day 4. And this was a really long daily cycle at something like 50 weeks. Let's just say we have a relatively short one here at 25 weeks. That takes you to the middle of January as far as your next low. Because this was a 50-week cycle, right? Or excuse me, 50-day cycle. This is your daily chart, right? And so the other thing to remember, though, is that the energy stocks are in weekly cycle decline as well. So I'm looking at the daily charts, but we're going to also look at their weekly charts. So they're all really a very similar pattern. So we're not going to look through all of them in great detail. Yeah, they're all showing the same kind of situation. What do the weekly charts look like? Let's go back to the XLE. So if we think a daily cycle might be in place, and again, the bullish case is that we're going to make a new high, continue the advance. The bearish case is we've already made a new high, now we're declining into the daily cycle low, which we don't get until at least mid-January. What do we look like? So for XLE, let's just do the count on this, right? So we got our top on day 7. And now this is, or excuse me, week 7. This is your weekly chart. 8, 9, 10. This is week 11. It would be unusual to have, and we got our low last week. It would be unusual to have a cycle bottom on week 10, although it's totally possible, right? Price action is going to do whatever the heck it wants to do at the end of the day. But more likely that this is consolidation before another lower low on the weekly chart, maybe followed by another one like down there, right? Because this is only week 11. And so you can imagine we're going to decline for at least 15 to maybe 20 weeks. Like this cycle was 29 weeks. And it doesn't mean every cycle has to be the same length, right? This was, well, actually, if you say that, that's interesting, right? So that's where it gets a little bit squirrely. But the idea that we bottomed on week 10 will definitely be very optimistic. What about Valero? What does that look like on the weekly? So similar kind of situation, right? So in the case, so that's interesting. Going back to XLE, so to me that means that this is actually not week 7, right? And that's your low here. So that's important actually. So that is actually week, what is that? 18. So first off, a very right translated cycle. That's helpful. Yeah, it's not cooperating with me. There we go. So if that's week 18, that's 19, 20, 21. So that is interesting, right? So that puts you in a situation where you could see a world where this is your low, or excuse me, this is your weekly cycle low. That would be a really mild weekly cycle decline. And again, I think the direction of oil is going to help here too. Now, certainly these stocks have been rallying while oil was not able to rally. But I don't think that means they can continue to do that if oil is moving into a 3-year cycle low, for instance. So in this case, what's the count on Valero? Week 19 top, potential week 21 bottom. Again, that's your bull case, right? Your bull case is that week 21 was your top after the, so that could be interesting. I mean, people have chased these names or tried to chase them. What I'll say is this is a double top kind of structure here. Now, if we come back and make a higher high, obviously all is good. Like, imagine if we got like a huge candle next week that looked like that, right? A huge candle solves everything, right? As long as it's in the right direction. We'll see. It's really a question of what the odds are. So this to me is pretty ominous. And if you think about the monthly chart, we talked about this in the last video, so I won't go into a ton of detail. We have a monthly swing highs in place all over the board, like in general across these stocks. So we're going to want to we're going to get back above those lows as well. That's important. So that's the weekly on Valero. For Exxon. So yeah, Exxon is in an interesting spot where, right, so this was probably your low. So that's good. So if you think about it that way, again, that's the bullish interpretation. You're in a situation where, right, your high was on week 18, and yeah, maybe you got like a couple week decline, or in this case 3-week decline for a week 21 low. So you want to be watching that. Now, this weekly candle does not look very positive right now. We have 1 week left to trade. What we're setting up for is we either go red on the week, and that would be going below the opening price, which is 103.83, or we stay in this kind of situation and it ends up setting up for an inside weekly candle next week to open at least, and we kind of see, which side of the range does it break, sort of thing. Phillips 66. So they're all doing a very similar thing. In this case, we did make a lower low on that week of the 26th, September 26th. Whereas Exxon and the other ones did not. So those other ones have a weekly cycle low here. In this case, we made a lower low. That's an important little nuance, but it doesn't mean they can't bottom around the same time if they do end up bottoming. All the same, this has been a pretty mild, modest decline, so would be surprised if it was already over, but we're going to watch the price action. This is OIH. OIH is actually pretty close. Move back above 313. Gets you back into that weekly uptrend, basically. And this is probably one of the most bullish areas, ETF that looks at oil services names, so you get a little bit of sort of diverse exposure, theoretically. Okay, looking at ConocoPhillips, right, yeah, same kind of idea here. This looks like it wants to make a move down to 98.50 area, but we could also have a weekly cycle low here. That said, it doesn't mean that if this is a weekly cycle low, that this next weekly cycle is going to be right translated, right? We could get a left translated weekly cycle, something that has an early top that tops out. And so we're going to have to watch for that. Devon Energy, same kind of deal here. Again, I think this one especially still has a date with like the $55 area. Marathon Oil, same principle here. And finally, Chevron. So they're all building this upper wick, and so we'll do an update about this as we close out the week, but we're probably going to set up for an inside weekly candle, and that's going to be inside this range. The bad news is, think about what this candle is. I mean, it's a huge red down candle, which means any consolidation that happens around here is going to be consolidation at the lower end of the range by definition, and that's a bear flag, right? So we're going to want to get out. Like in this case, that high is 175, right? So as long as it's below 175, we're essentially bear flagging, and we're just below the 10-week moving average as well. That's notable. So that's kind of the rundown on these different names. Again, as I said, just looking at these monthly charts, they all got monthly swing highs on the board as well. You can see that where that line is drawn. Should draw your eye to that. And in some cases, we're far below, and so we'll want to pay attention to that level as well. And of course, what was the opening price for each name? Because that is what we need to get above to go green on the month. There's obviously not a whole lot of month left, so that's going to be difficult to do at this point, but important to know what that level is. So we'll leave it at that for our crude oil update and walking through several different energy names. Thank you for watching.